Hi there, this is Helen coming to you with my first video blog post. I've been toying with the idea of doing video posts for quite some time, and I decided that this was the time to give it a shot. And so I'm depending on you to let me know whether you like it, whether you'd like me to continue doing video posts or whether I should go back to just doing plain old text, and I will be guided by you. Now, I'll set the tone, the context for this first post, because as I speak, it's the 29th of November, and since 2 weeks ago, I am spending 6 months living and working in beautiful Buenos Aires, Argentina. So I'm exchanging Canadian winter for Argentine summer. And I thought this was the time to do something outside. So I'm hoping that that's going to work out. Find out later. It actually was hard to find a spot to do this because the sun is so high in the sky and it's so hot that there was something wrong with everything. So, I know, shut up, Helen. Anyway, so let me get to business. There is, in fact, a tie-in between the message that I have for you today and the fact that I'm here where I am. The first time I came to Buenos Aires was 2 years ago at the beginning of 2014. Now, just to let you know, I speak Spanish. I've spoken Spanish for a number of years. And so it never occurred to me that I might have a problem. But when I came to Buenos Aires in early 2014, that's when I found out that the Spanish that's spoken in Argentina is quite different from the Spanish that's spoken in the rest of the Spanish-speaking world. But I didn't know that till I got here. So it's not a difference in the language. The language is the same. It's the pronunciation. And there are about 4 sounds that a Spanish-speaking person would expect to hear in a certain way. But here, it's different. It's a different sound. Now, 4 sounds might not sound like a lot, but when you put it all together and people speak at their normal fast speed, it is different, and it was quite perturbing to me. I couldn't understand it at all. So, I mean, I didn't understand what people were saying. I only caught parts of things, and people were looking blankly at me when I spoke, so there was definitely something wrong. So I decided, all right, Helen, you are a communicator. Ask. So that's what I did. I asked a couple of people about this, and it was explained to me about this. It's actually has a name. It's called Rio Platense Spanish because Buenos Aires is on the Rio de la Plata. And they have a similar, a version of the same thing across the river in Uruguay. Anyway, at least I found out what it was, and I learned the 4 sounds that were different. And of course, once I knew what the differences were, it was no problem because it was easy enough to learn them and then incorporate them and practice them. And so now I'm happy to say, yes, I speak Argentine Spanish, and it's a lot easier to communicate. So why am I telling you this? Well, I think there's a parallel between what happened to me here in Buenos Aires on my first visit and your first visit as an accountant to a potential new client, or even a new client that you've already got. And especially if that client is in a different industry that you haven't worked in before. And so think about it. You'll be going in with your accounting jargon, although if you've taken Helen's Jargon Challenge, I hope you're working on using that effectively. But then they'll have their jargon as well. And so it's quite easy for a conversation to start and finish, and the communication is you're just passing one another like ships in the night and not understanding. So to prevent that, I suggest that you do what I did. Simply speak up. And so I suggest that you say to them something like, I'm new to your industry. And I have done some studying on it, but I am new to the industry. And so some of the words that you use, your terminology is not familiar to me. And so with your permission, I'm simply going to tell you when I don't understand something and ask you to explain it to me. Because that way I can help you better. And of course, what will they say? They'll agree. I also think you should take the opportunity to make this a two-way street, but don't leave it up to them. You take the initiative. And you say to them something like, by the same token, I do my best not to use accounting jargon, but sometimes I slip up. So if I say something that you don't understand, I will not take it amiss if you simply interrupt me and ask me to explain. That way we can both understand one another better, and I'll be better able to serve you. And that's it. That's my lesson to you as an accountant from my experience with Argentine Spanish. I hope you find it helpful. Again, please do let me know about your response to this. Let me know whether you like the video and also what you think about the message. And I will be back next week, one way or another. And in the meantime, as we say in Buenos Aires, hasta pronto.